want to be an assessor?
Hi! Welcome to the podcast. So you want to be an assessor. My name is Maeve Shepard. I am one of the co-hosts.
And my name is Caitlin Reeder. I am your other co-host. And today we are going to be doing another method deep dive. Maybeth, you got any ideas of what we should dive into today?
Well, we're picking the hard methods. But surprisingly, we have managed to spend a lot of time doing these. Okay, hard was a sarcastic comment.
It was a hard.
Yeah, it was sarcasm. As my daughter says, that was sarcasm. So solids is another wet chemistry method. Let's start talking about 2540 from Standard Methods, which has several methods in it. I know that we get TDS and TSS are very popular methods. They are used by nearly every wastewater organization. And so they are mainstream items that are done. There are also lots of, because they're done by everyone, they're not done the same way by everyone, sadly. And so we write findings. We have findings on these things. And so, which is what we've been doing on these deep dives, is trying to tell you about the findings that we get so that you can make sure your laboratory is not doing those things, and or that you understand where the requirement comes from and that you are doing it correctly in your lab. So that's where we're trying to go from what we're trying to do. So 2540, Caitlin.
2540. So pick a letter, and it's probably there under 2540.
So B is total solids.
Yep.
But dried from 103 to 105. That one's not done as often. So I vote we wait on that one.
Okay. Then how about we start with TSS that you brought up earlier. That is total suspended solids. So my understanding, right, is you take some water, your water sample, and you put it through a filtration vacuum device, and you collect it onto a filter. And that filter then gets weighed, dried and weighed, and that is your result. Simple.
Yeah, easy stuff, easy peasy stuff, and if only.
If only.
But yeah, that's the general outtake of this, of what's going on with that. And so, first, to be clear, 2540D, I have the copy over here, so I keep looking that way, is TSS. 2540D is what...
As in dog.
As in dog. Is the total suspended solids method. Okay, so yes, you have to start... The important pieces, as you said, are a sample, a filter, and an oven to dry it, and then a balance to make sure you know how much it weighs. Mm-hmm. And typically you're using analytical balances at this point because a filter doesn't weigh a lot, even with sample on it. And so anyway, and you need some way to pull the sample through the filter. I mean, you can just kind of like pour it, but you usually need a vacuum to pull the sample out through the filter. You can't usually just let it sit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, gravity doesn't work that fast. And if you're doing multiple of these a day, you're going to want to vacuum.
Yeah,
for sure.
Use a vacuum. There isn't a limit on what the vacuum should be, but you probably don't want it to pull the filter through. I haven't ever seen a vacuum that strong. But that is not a challenge. Not a challenge. So
Just like the black hole of like vacuums, we're just all of it.
I am pulling everything in here. No, don't. It's not. So, all right. So, sample size. The idea is to get a sample. It's weird because the idea is to know what your end result's going to be and be somewhere between 25 and 200 milligrams. You won't know that until you're done. So,
that's only helpful if you know what's coming in or have historical data, as we like to say.
Yeah, if you have samples from the same place all the time, then you kind of have around an idea. You know, the effluent or the influent, one of the fluents, effluent.
The cleaner fluid.
yeah, is usually on the 0 side, but the other one is usually on the you probably only need like 10 mils a sample. But anyway, so on the cleaner side, and you're always going to have blanks, you must run up to a liter of sample. That is a thing that has been a problem for a lot of people. They don't run a liter of sample for their blanks. I'm looking to see because it's been such a big deal for everybody. I'm thinking, and Standard Methods is trying to enhance things.
Are you checking the different editions for like where that is, or just kind of a general idea?
I'm looking at the latest one to see if they still are requiring a liter of water.
Cool. So the latest one, the 24th edition of Standard Methods, which came out a year and a half ago. At this point, did get a major overhaul in the micro section, but actually a lot of the chemistry portions, I would say, got better. There was a lot of minutia and details that were getting bogged down, like this 1 liter blank requirement that they actually started to explain away. If it doesn't exist, I would imagine they switched it with words that said whatever your highest volume of sample for your typical run is.
Yes, it's going to be, I don't see it in here. I don't see where it says specifically to use a liter of sample.
Huzzah!
Which would be great, which would be new news to me. But for this, we didn't talk about it. These are method-defined parameters, which means you can't change the method. So even the typical caveat of if it's a non-drinking water sample, you can change your rules and set your rules to not require a liter. That's not the way that it works in a method-defined parameter. So
the only time that I have seen laboratories not go for the full liter is if the client simply doesn't give them enough, in which case that's on the client and you have to clear it with them that they're okay missing this method defined parameter.
Yes.
But that's a special circumstance that happens to hardly nobody, I hope.
Well, a lot of people take their own samples, and so they should be able to get enough. And you're also required to do a duplicate once per 20 samples. If you don't get a duplicate sample, if they only send you one liter bottle, you can't do a duplicate. Anyway, so yeah, I don't see that it's a requirement to use a liter anymore.
Good news.
But in the older versions, it is absolutely a requirement that you use a liter of sample. So if it is a requirement to use a liter, you must use a liter of sample on your blank. And then for any samples that are clean enough, so what's clean enough, Caitlin? Do you remember? There's something.
There's a threshold, I believe, on clean enough. Usually that's that 25 endpoint, which I'm going to get the units wrong.
milligrams, but
Milligrams.
there's
So
an
it's
milligrams
2.5,
per liter.
0.25 grams. There we go. Found it.
Mm-hmm.
I usually say it as 0.25 because that's usually how the scale will read it. But
Oh, right. Good idea. Good thought.
mhm.
Okay, so it is. What was I thinking? I just found the place in the method where it says the analytical range for 2540B through D is 2.5 to 200 milligrams for a 1,000 mil sample, but may be extended by using a smaller sample volume for analysis.
Ooh.
So it explicitly, that's in the introduction area, section 4, selection of the method. So it does explicitly allow you to use less. You change your reporting limits.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're not going to report 2.5 per liter if you don't have a whole liter sample.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry.
That's a good discussion to have.
Right.
Let's talk about the flip end that we sometimes see, which is too dirty of a sample, you know?
Which brings us back to sometimes what's too dirty?
We have defined what is too dirty.
Yes,
Believe
if
it or
it's more
not.
than 200 when you're done. But as another trick, if it takes more than 10 minutes to filter a sample, you can stop. It's gonna be more than 200 if it can't filter through after 10 minutes. So just figure out what that volume is and quit on that sample. So there's a
some
time
samples are more solid than liquid. In that case, when you get to have like literal peanut butter style sitting on your filter, odds are you can stop.
Yeah. If it's not,
you're gonna get a good result.
With the vacuum, back to the vacuum, want that one. If it's still not coming through, then you're done. Quit after 10 minutes. You would want to document that you have only been able to filter X amount within that 10 minutes. But anyway, so you also want to stir your samples before you put them in. You don't want to, pour just the clean stuff off the top of a sample. You want to shake, homogenize is the word is in micro world, but shake the sample and then pour. And usually you have an idea of how much you're going to do for your dirty samples because you have done them before.
Hopefully.
So, okay. What other caveats, what other fun things are there about TSS?
Let's see here. So now that we've got our stuff on that filter, the filter itself does have specific qualifications to make sure that it is meeting the quality specs. Now, this is another thing that's going to depend on your version of standard methods as to what specs you want to follow for your filter. The newest versions are super nice, and they say if your blanks are blank, which is that 1 liter through our filter, then your filters are probably clean enough, because if they had gunk on them, it would definitely show up on the blank.
Right. So the difference in the older versions is whether you need to start your process with a constant weight filter or just a weighed filter. You can buy them constant weight, which means that when you get them, they come with a little barcode on the side of every 10 that has a single filter in it that has the weight, and that has been verified and weighed at least 2 times.
Pre-weigh, double weigh filters.
Yes, they should send you that information or, give you the link to it online. Mm-hmm. You also could buy pre-weighed single weigh filters, which come in the little tins, and a single filter in each one with a barcode that has the weight of the filter, but it's only verified once. They only weigh it once. That's fine under the latest version. You don't have to spend time setting your filter, making it up and cleaning it and all that sort of stuff. There is a cleaning procedure of rinsing 3 times and making sure that the water goes through. But if your blanks are coming up blank and you're buying filters nowadays, you're good. You don't have to go through all that. And it says in the method, if your blanks are blank, you don't have to go through the cleaning process. You can skip the cleaning step.
And those cleaning steps do tend to take a while. So if you are doing a whole lot of them, odds are it's easier to buy them. However, there are detailed instructions on how to do the cleaning step for double way filters in the method. It takes quite a bit of time. So,
oh yeah, it's a real pain.
It's oh gosh. Anytime I go into a laboratory where they're doing that, I'm like, so much paperwork I'm gonna now have to look through.
I know. You have to rinse each filter 3 times. You have to suck all the water out. You then have to dry it. You have to weigh it. You have to dry it again. You have to weigh it again. You have to make sure that it's at constant weight there. And then now you have to maintain the weight of that filter and hold it over here to hang out so that you know what it is.
Yeah.
So that you know it's clean enough.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. That's a lot of time to get to where you could be when you open the filter single way or double way, whatever.
And ready to go.
Put it on and run the sample through.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's one of the pitfalls of TSS, and is that people don't. Now, the filters come with a flat side and a gridded side. Mm-hmm. Grid goes up. By the way,
easier for counting,
Yeah. When you put it, well, you don't need to count usually. This one,
no,
we're thinking micro, but yeah.
Same filter, multiple purposes.
Yep. Sometimes it can be. So anyway, so the filter, you have to put it on there correctly. There used to be, so in some versions, you had to seat the filter. You had to make sure that it was connected to the suction, that it was in the right place, and that so you had to rinse it and let the water run through and then rinse it 3 times. No. If your filters like to migrate and move around, put a little bit of water on them, suck it out, and it should be fine. It doesn't move after that. This 3 rinses was like somebody just was OCD. And
if your filters are flying about the laboratory, then please make sure to tack them down. But maybe you just need a better fitting instrument.
Yes. Just make sure that you've got a fit. That you're not using a filter that's this big for a funnel location that's this big. And this big versus this big, that's not a good fit. No. Anyway,
and they do come in different sizes, so know your fit.
Yep. Have the right size filter for what you're doing. So once you have a filter, take it off with tweezer things,
and make sure to rip it in half as you do.
No. That was sarcasm. That was not correct.
Don't do that.
Don't. So take the filter. I've actually seen a lab that took the filter, that were using bigger filters, and they folded it into quarters. And I was like, that makes me extremely uncomfortable. But they had gloves on, and there wasn't anything in the method that says you can't fold the filter. So you can fold the filter. You have to make sure it dries. And I just did my king size sheets, and the ones that got bundled into the middle, in the dryer.
Yeah.
The pillowcases were not dry. So you could use that as a learning tool for your TSS filters if you choose to fold them. make sure they dry completely. But you have to get the constant weight. That has not changed in any of the versions when you are weighing it. So the process, put it into an oven. What's the degrees of the oven?
This one is 103 to 105, usually just called a 104 oven.
The 104 oven with a plus or minus degree. For how long?
At least an hour.
Minimum of an hour. And then
this is not one of those hard times. This is a fluffy time. As long as it's in there for an hour, I don't necessarily care.
Well, it is a minimum 1 hour. Many labs leave it in overnight.
Yes.
For the first.
Make sure that it gets real nice and dry and you don't have to go through the whole spiel again.
Yes. But anyway, so drying time is always an hour minimum. That comes in the second time. So you take it out of the oven, preferably with hot pads, and put it into desiccator so that they can cool. And then once they cool, you can weigh them on that fancy analytical balance, because you already had the weight of the filter before you started due to the little barcode on the side of the thing, or you're going through all of the processes and having the weight defined somewhere. So now you put it on and you weigh it. Analytical balances have 5 spots, decimal places, I think. The 5th one is in the milligrams.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I'm always confused.
There's a lot of zeros.
There's a lot of zeros. Well,
there's a little static guy you can put your filter through too. Really helps.
Yeah.
Especially in certain climates.
We're talking about Florida. We're talking about the coast in California. Where
anyone who has any type of like humidity.
The humid life.
Yeah. You use those static guys. Fantastic.
It can be helpful. And so you put it in there, write down the numbers. The really good balances have 5 numbers. They all have at least 4. So the 4th place is the one that you were looking to not change by more than 0.5. I think is what we're looking at. So here's where we often see other problems. Now, this is on the edge of fraud. I can't claim it fraud, but it's on the edge of fraud if every one of your filter weights is identical from weighing 1, put it back in the oven, put it back in the desiccator, weigh it again, and it is identical to 4 to 5 places. That's just not reality.
That's statistically unlikely.
Yes, it happens. In a logbook, if you look at a real logbook where it's done correctly, you may find in the logbook 2 or 3 that do that are that exact.
Yeah.
Because usually that last place will go up and down.
Whether the AC turned on or turned off, it goes up or down.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's winter and or summer, it goes up and down. If you look at it wrong, sometimes it will just go up on you and you'll be like, why? What did I do?
Well, if you lean on the table, if your balance isn't set on a great table, then it can go up and down, second to second. But anyway, so when we see logbooks full of identical first and second weights, we do not believe you. We can't say that you are lying, but it sure does seem like you're lying. And now I'm going to look for evidence that you're lying. So I don't suggest anybody do that. It's a pain to put it back into the oven for an hour and take it back out, cool it. I get it. I understand that. But that's the way the method's written.
It's part of it. You just gotta do it.
It's
You
just
know,
part you get to do. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
time it for your lunch break or
Yeah.
something, you
Yeah.
know?
Because your second way or heating only has to be an hour.
Yep.
And most laboratories, if they dry them overnight and then come in and take them out, cool them, weigh them, put them back in at lunchtime, they are still pretty dry and they are within the constant weight.
Yep.
And so you're done. But yeah, it's just not worth the argument with assessors to have written the same numbers down. It's just not.
Yeah. And like sometimes you may be like, wow, I'm good. I'm bang on. Congratulations. We will congratulate you for being bang on. If you are slightly off, though, we feel better.
It reflects real data. I mean, we just have seen too many times when you can take the exact same filter off and put it back on and it will weigh slightly differently. And so having 1 to 2 hours in between weighs just doesn't make sense that it's identical. So anyway, I think we beat that horse.
We have. So, you know, once you do that one more time, if everything is within that, you know, 5 or what is the percentage?
No, they took out the percentage, so they changed the definition of constant weight. It used to be less than 4% difference, which 4%, even of these little numbers, is humongous amounts versus 0.5 milligrams. No more than a 0.5 milligram difference. So that is the 5th place of balance, and you can have it be different by within 5 numbers. So, and that's constant weight. That's the definition of constant weight these days. Again, different versions of 2540 have slightly different wordings, but they are trying to make it less restrictive, or make you remember stupid things just to remember them, like the less than 4% versus 0.5 milligrams, because 4% is a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you're within that change, congratulations, you have finished the test. And now you can input it wherever it needs to be, do whatever you need to do, start your cleanup process.
Calculation and end up with a value.
There you go. However, if they are off, you do have to do that again. So it goes back into the oven to cook, and then desiccator to cool, and then weigh. So we can do that until it's constant.
Or, which means you could do it 4 or 5 times for some of your oily samples or something like that, then it can get really difficult. Or there is the caveat, the ability in the method to, and they talk about one of the sections. It's not in all of them. It's not repeated in all of them. But that you could stop after 3 weighs and say in the report, we didn't get to a final constant weight. This is where we started. This is where we ended. You lab or you client, take that information for what it's worth. I mean, they're usually pretty good, but pretty close, but they're not within the definition of a 0.5 milligram.
Yeah. At that point, you know, you may want to direct them to a different test that'll give them results in the range that they're actually looking for.
Right. Or you make a note that that client, that type of sample, you use less next time.
True.
Or a bigger filter, or, you know, whatever, to try and get to where there's less sample trying to dry on the filter. Anyway, we have spent more than 20 minutes trying to just talk about TSS. We were going to do
but we're going to do more solids and talk about like the quality that kind of goes along with them too, because like Some of them have blanks that need to be run. In fact, all of them
And
have
LCSs.
blanks. LCSs, some do, some don't. And we're going to talk about the ones that do and the ones that don't. But
which TSS does.
TSS does. So make one.
And a blank. Yep, you're required to have a blank, and you're required to have an LCS for TSS.
Duplicates if you have enough volume, which for this test can in fact be more than likely a problem.
Yeah, it can be a problem if the client doesn't bring you 2 samples taken at the same time, same place.
Mm-hmm.
But, or you could do a duplicate of your dirty samples that you're not going to use as much sample, and they send you a liter and you use 10 mils. You have enough for a duplicate.
You have enough for a duplicate. Just hope and pray you shake it so they kind of actually match.
Yes, they need to be within 10% RPD is what the method says, is what you're aiming for your duplicates. So, okay.
That's TSS. Sorry we didn't quite get to all the other solids.
We didn't do anything with the others. Anyway, deep dive. That's what we are doing. Deep dive.
We are. And if you want to see us deep dive into balances, go check out the oil and grease one, because we didn't even touch on that.
Yeah. Exactly.
In this video. That video we did. So
yes, we've done
over there.
We've done a lot of this stuff more than once. But anyway, so let us know what you want to hear about. If this is content that's helpful, not helpful, we want to hear, and let us know. And
absolutely.
Ask questions. If you have questions, tell us what you want to hear about, and subscribe so that you hear when there are new podcasts put up.
Absolutely. As this is coming out, it will also be conference season, which is usually the summer season. So be on the lookout for local conferences. We will be attending at least a few on the different coasts. So keep an eye out for us. As always, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, hit the bell oh God.
Hit the bell icon. Whatever.
I had it.
You did. You were close.
I was so close. And then it got jumbled. But I can always save it with he's yours. To James Charles. It's fine. I'm fine.
So until next time, thank you for listening, and let us know how else we could help you. Till then, bye.
Bye.